In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your parking brake shoes on your Mercedes-Benz C300. They're located behind the rear wheel. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to remove our wheel. For the last one, you want to keep a hand on the wheel. Remove it. You're going to want to open your bleeder screw before continuing and make sure it opens, and also loosen it for when it's time to compress the caliper. Ours loosened. I'm going to tighten it down a little bit, and now we can begin. We're going to remove our brake pad sensor by pulling out the plug, and then we're going to disconnect it from the pad. You may need to wiggle it a little bit. If it's a little stuck, you might have to clean out that little track area. If it's really stuck, you can leave it there, because when we take out this pad, we're replacing it anyways. We're going to remove this spring by pulling it out with a flathead screwdriver. Sometimes these get stuck. You might need some cutters just to grab onto it a little better and pull it out that way. Remove your cap on this top slide bolt and the bottom one using a flathead screwdriver. Now we're going to take out our slide pins. To do that, you're going to use a 7mm Allen wrench or a 7mm Allen wrench socket. For this lower one, it's easier to get this in there, like that. And we're going to loosen it up. Now I'm going to swap it out for the socket, and we'll take it out the rest of the way. Use the socket on the top, 7mm. Make sure you have a hanger ready to catch your caliper. And we're going to pull that right out. Take out that loose pad, put it off to the side, grab your hanger. And for this car, you don't have a whole lot of space to put this caliper unless you undo this bolt here and remove this sensor, which is not really necessary. So we're just going to hang up our caliper a little off to the side, but out of the way. Just make sure there's no stress on this wire underneath. And we can leave it there. We're going to take this bracket off next. We're going to use an 18mm socket on the bottom one with a breaker bar or a ratchet if you can get one in there. And I'm going to use a wrench on the top because the sway bar link is in our way. We're going to take this out the rest of the way with a ratchet wrench if you have one. Otherwise, you can continue doing it the way you were. Set that aside. Do the same on the top. Remove the bracket with bolt. Using a T30, we're going to remove this screw right here to take our rotor off. Turn your rotor to about 10 o'clock, so this is at 10 o'clock, as if this was a clock. And you're going to see a adjuster in here. And you're going to spin the wheel towards the interior of the car with a flathead screwdriver. You're going to unadjust it until it doesn't adjust anymore. It'll bottom out. You're going to keep doing this till it's loose enough to get this rotor off. The shoes inside are up against the inside of this rotor right now, and that's for the parking brake. So keep moving that wheel till you can't anymore. That feels about right. Let's try to get this off. You may have to give it a little tap around here as well if there's rust. We're pretty backed off, so now I'm going to give it a tap. That looks like it loosened up. And now we're going to take our rotor off. And you can set that aside. So here's the wheel. We were going through here, and we were backing it so it made it shorter. When we adjust it, after we put the rotor on, we're going to go the other way. And what that does is it makes this adjuster go out, pushing these against the inside of the rotor. You want to spray this down first with some brake clean. We'll clean that more later. You're going to need some needle nose pliers and some cutting pliers. There is a special tool for these types of shoes, so if you have one, use that. Otherwise, just do what I'm going to do. There is a special tool to remove these two springs and all the hardware on these cars. However, you can do it with some needle nose if you don't have that special tool, and I'm going to show you how to do it that way. There's a spring on the top and there's one on the bottom, and those hold the shoes in place. We're going to push in with our needle nose and slide it over. And there's the back of the spring that is hooked into that slot. And the backing plate. I'm going to try this bottom spring. Put your needle nose pliers in. Push in and slide towards the back of the car. Now you can pull it out. So this little hook is on the backing plate. So you have to twist it to make sure, if it's not already this way, after you push it back, you got to twist it a little to pull it out. So just to show you, the spring is shaped like this, and if I compare it to the top one, this hook is now engaged with the backing plate, pointing down like this. So in order to get it out, we're going to twist it counterclockwise and pull it out. So let's try it. Get your needle nose in there, twist it counterclockwise, and then slide it. It may put up a little fight if you're rusty like us. So keep working at it if yours is also stuck. And you will get it eventually. Ours is still stuck behind the shoe and not so much the backing plate, but there we go. Next, we're going to pull up on the shoe. Just pry it up like this. And we're going to take out our adjuster. Might be a little stuck if the vehicle is rusty. So it may come out in two parts. Release it. That'll take the tension off. And now we can get these springs off without any issues or tension. So you're just going to reach in there and unhook your spring, either on the top or the bottom, whatever's easier for you. You may need some long needle nose pliers to get in there. And just push it through. spring will come out. Now we're going to take the spring out in the back. We're using needle nose pliers to do that. Initially, again, our vehicle's pretty rusty, so nothing's really coming out easily. Hopefully yours is. We're going to take it off of the parking brake. Use a pry bar. And once it's off of that, it'll be loose enough to be able to get that spring out. So you can unhook it from the shoe. You might need a pair of cutters to do that, just to grab onto that spring. And you're going to unhook it and take off the shoe. Here's your spring. And that was hooked into here. Now you can remove the top one. Just a tech tip, it's always good to set up your shoes the way they were in the vehicle, so your springs are going the right way and everything goes back the way you took it apart. We're going to clean everything up with some brake clean. You want to get that brake dust off. We also want to make sure that the e-brake cable is free and moves around. And we're going to use some sanding over here with a wire brush. We're going to clean this up. If you can get something in there to clean off areas. You could also use a wire brush. Ours is pretty rusty, so I'm going to use this. Now for the rest, I'll use a wire brush. Give it one more spray. Let it drip dry. At this point, you are going to put some anti-seize on the high points of the backing plate. And now I'm going to check the parking brake cable and make sure this is freed up. Seems to be moving okay, but I am going to clean it up a little bit more and add some anti-seize. You do want movement for that. All right, that's moving much better. Make sure you match up your shoes the same way you took them out. The short one is on the top. It's real subtle, so make sure you really take a close look at it. Make sure your adjuster is free. You want to unscrew it after you free it up and put some anti-seize on there on the threads. Screw it in a few times. Make sure it's coated well so you can adjust your shoes and your parking brake. It's a good idea to put some here too. Push your parking brake in on the bottom and slide your spring up through. Right now we're not hooking it into the parking brake cable. We're just trying to get this spring through this hole here. We're doing that before we get tension. To put your thumb through there to hold it still. And push that spring through that slot. Like that. Now we're gonna put the shoe lined up inside this cable bracket. Pull your shoe out like this, and now you're gonna feed it into where that cable bracket is. There's a little notch in the shoe. I'm gonna show you on the other side, or the old one. You need to fit this notch onto this. So pull it out, find where you're supposed to be, and push your shoe into it. We're in on the top. We're just trying to get in on the bottom. All right, once you're in, we're gonna work on the other side with the adjuster. We're gonna put our little spring in now on this side with our adjuster. First, we're gonna put the spring in first. You're gonna have the hooks going towards your face. So you're gonna hook that in on the bottom first. Just a little easier doing it that way. And then we're gonna slide it behind that shoe and hook it into the top slot. If you look through this hole, you'll be able to see where you're going. After you get your spring on your two shoes, you're gonna put your bottom adjuster part on the shoe and the lower shoe. And then you're gonna use a pry bar here, and you're gonna pry down and slide the top of the adjuster onto the top shoe, like this. Now that that's all in, you're gonna hold your shoes down, and we're gonna put our other springs in. So here is your backing plate hole, and we are gonna feed this through and hook it in. You're gonna wanna use a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver that's about the same width, just enough to get the tip in, so that you can press the spring against the shoe to get it through to the backing plate. Once you find a screwdriver like that, we're gonna feed it through. You're gonna line up that hole with the spring, the hook on the spring, get it into position, push in. And that's how you do it. Now we're going to do the same on the bottom one. Before beginning, make sure your shoe is lined up with the backing plate. I'm going to put it in, go towards the front of the car, compress it, get it through the hole, and then you're going to turn it clockwise to lock it in. So we're going to put some anti-seize around the hub. Once you're done doing that, you can put your rotor on. Make sure you put the proper rotor on the right side. Line it up with the hole. If you're unsure which side is which, there should be a letter on the edge of the rotor. This one says R for right side, passenger side. Put it on, and now we're going to put our screw in that hole to hold it on. Put in your screw and snug it up. That should be good. Now we're just going to adjust our shoes. And we're just going to do a couple of turns out. You're going to feel that it won't turn after you go a few turns out, and then you're going to back it off. You're going to go the other direction. And your shoes are adjusted. Use a wire brush and start cleaning up your bracket. You want to get it pretty clean. Get all the crud out of there. Do the same on this side. All right, once you're done cleaning it up, we're going to install it on the car. Let's clean up our caliper. We're going to remove this pad. Use a pry bar. Pull it out. So we have our bleeder screw open. And now we're just going to use this tool and push the piston in. And we have a drip pan below. Catch the fluid. You're going to push it in until it no longer goes. And then we're going to remove our tool. Tighten your bleeder. Remove your tool. I'm going to snug this up a little bit. Clean it up. And now we're going to move on to cleaning the rest of this. Start with some brake clean. I'm going to hang this up for a sec. And we're going to remove our slide bolts. Push them out. Yours might be stuck. If they're stuck, you're going to need a punch or something to push them out and really clean them up, because if they're stuck, that's not a good sign. If your slides look like this, you're in good shape. Just add some silicone paste, and we're going to work them through where they live, right here, just to get them lubricated and to get that rubber boot with plenty of silicone paste. After you're done lubricating that, you're going to put your slides in, hang up your caliper if it isn't already, and we're going to put our bracket on. Let's install our bracket. Slide it over the rotor, line up your holes in the back, and get your bolts going. Now I'm going to do the one on the bottom. If your bolts are super rusty, it's a good idea to clean those up before you go ahead and install. Let's tighten these up and torque them to 84 foot-pounds. Now we're going to torque them. It's probably pretty much impossible getting a torque wrench in there unless you got a crow's foot. Just do the best you can. Now we're going to install our pads. We're going to push this brake pad into the piston. You can take it off that hanger if you want. You're going to line up that and push it in. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Just be patient and lock it in. Now we're going to put the whole caliper on the bracket. I already have my other pad installed on the other side. And to do that, you just slide it in. And then let's install. Get your slide bolt started and use an Allen wrench to get them going. Tighten it the rest of the way. After they're snug, we're going to torque them to 18 foot-pounds. I'm going to leave this one right there and try to get my torque wrench on. If you can't, do the best you can. So I'm using a swivel on my socket Allen wrench to get this to torque to 18 foot-pounds. Now we're going to torque the top one to the same. Now we're going to put our caps back on. That'll keep the dirt out. Now we're going to install our brake pad sensor. Slide this in. Make sure that post lines up with the hole in the pad. Push it in. And now we're going to plug it into the connector. Slide that in. Now we're going to put our front spring clip in. You're going to start this bottom one first. It kind of goes in at an angle. Make sure it's pushed in pretty much all the way. And then you're going to finish by installing the top one. Put it in the hole and pry it over the bracket like that. Tap it in the rest of the way. Like that. And you should be good to go. One last check. Make sure this bleeder screw is nice and tight. And if you had a bleeder screw cap, put it back. Ours was missing, so I'm replacing it. Put your wheel on. Once you get them all started, you can snug them up. Do not over tighten them. We're going to tighten them in a star-like pattern. We're going to torque our wheel to 96 foot-pounds. We're going to do that in a star-like pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.